Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at USAGlobalTV.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio Network. I'm red.olaughlin, your host today. And we have a real privilege today because most of the time I have people on, somebody I just met, somebody I networked with, maybe had a couple one-on-ones with. But today our show is going to go into a business direction that I think will benefit a lot of people. I have the privilege today of having Steve Spangenberg, a close friend of mine. We've known each other for many years. And not only that, he's my tax accountant. But unlike most tax accountants, well, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get into that right now. Steve, why don't you join me up here front and center?
Okay. I just did. It was magic.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Steve is in Australia. So it's what, 5 o'clock in the morning there?
Yes, sir.
So he had to get up an hour ago just to be ready for the show, but he didn't balk at all when I said, hey, why don't you join me on the show, even though I knew he was half a world away. But Steve, how did you get into the tax business way back when?
Oh, wow. That's a funny story. Well, it's funny to some people, but my dad was a CPA. My mom was a bookkeeper. So unlike Tiger Woods, I didn't have a golf club put in my hand at age 4, but I did have a calculator put in my hand, and I grew up in a household full of numbers and ledgers and all kind of stuff. And I actually wanted to be an architect, but I didn't do too well in that. So my dad, the CPA, said, why don't you try a year of accounting? And I just ate it up with a spoon. I actually got kicked out of the accounting class in high school, because I was too far ahead. And they kept giving me things college level, and I kept smashing them out. And, here I am. I started doing taxes when I was 14, had my first paying client when I was 16. So taxes were just a lot of fun. It's a game.
I think it's more than fun, because what drew me to you was your passion, particularly the passion you have for what's in the tax code. How can I help this person or that person? And primarily at that point in time, I think a lot of us who were kind of circulating around that era were in multi-level marketing businesses, one owner, or maybe a spouse and so we ended up with a situation where I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. I mean, I went to Las Vegas for a convention, and one of the speakers they had was a tax expert. And all of a sudden, in an hour, I'm overwhelmed by what I don't know. And then I meet you not that long after that. And now I have somebody that I can reach out to and have talked with over and over again about various things for my tax issue, my daughter's, or whoever. It doesn't make any difference. And boom, you respond back. Even though you're half a world away, I have you on my phone. I can get you there. Typically, it's not that much of an emergency. So I email you. And generally speaking, I don't think you've been more than ever 24 hours in responding back that you're looking it up or you have an answer. So from that perspective, distance has never been an issue.
No, absolutely not. And I was in Pennsylvania. I lived in Pennsylvania before Australia, and I had clients in all 50 states. So there's really no difference between me corresponding with someone in California or from Pennsylvania, or California from Australia. It's just a time difference. And I've been in Australia now for 15 years and seamlessly have serviced hundreds and hundreds of clients throughout the United States. And there's no hiccups. It's just my schedule. I promise everybody that I will get back to you within 24 hours, and I haven't broken that promise.
Now, I remember you used to have a practice with another guy, if I remember right, and then you broke that up and kind of really and truly specialized in the home-based business aspect of things. Are there some hints, some tips of things for a 1 or 2 person business that many businesses are not taking advantage of or don't even know about? What's been your experience in that area?
Well, the biggest one, there's two biggies. Number one is hiring your children in your business. If you have children between the ages of 7 and 17, you can literally save anywhere from, I'd have to say, anywhere from 2,400 to 2,400 times the number of children you have in that age bracket every single year. And people come to me all the time and say, Steve, how do I write off my child's braces? How do I write off their private school? That's how you do it. You hire your children. You do what rich people do. They hire their children. And even though that's a big chapter of my book, very few people do it because it does take a little bit of work. But I mean, if I said to you, here's 3 things you have to do at the start of the year, and at the end of the year, you'll get a check for $2,400. I guarantee you, everybody would say, yeah, I want that check for $2,400. Now, the other big one is the home office deduction. And this stems from, even this deduction is similar to the hire your children deduction. It stems from fear of other accountants and other CPAs, other tax preparers, because they're afraid of these deductions. Now, the IRS doesn't put a line on your tax return saying expenses for the business use of your home. They don't put that there as a trap. They put that there because lobbyists and for years and years and decades have lobbied to get that deduction. Yet many accountants, and I have the amended returns to prove it, many tax people won't put it on there because they don't know of it. They don't know how to defend it. And they're making a decision on your money based on their fear. So like I said, I have the amended returns to prove that those 2 deductions are the biggest missed deductions out there, amongst others.
Well, I know I was very fortunate here in 2023. I got you my spreadsheet of expenses early, probably right around the end of January. And within 2 weeks, I had a check in my bank account. I had never, ever experienced that before, but I've never turned in stuff that early either. In fact, I just started this past week going through my expenses and starting to compile them so that I can have hopefully another January delivery to you. But
that's it.
But the typical, I guess, business we see, okay, you get involved with an MLM. They tell you you're a business, but you're operating it as a hobby, and you're not necessarily keeping all the records. And then all of a sudden, maybe you have a little bit of success, and you say, "Oh, I wish I had kept all that," or "I wish I'd known." Is there some place? Do you have a YouTube channel or website? Do you have something that people can go to learn a little bit more about how do you take advantage of home-based businesses?
Yeah, you can pull up my website there if you want to. I learned that this morning. The moneyfromhome.co. What I've done over the years, and this is the other one, Red, the moneyfromhome.co.
Okay, we'll get that one up in just a second.
That's okay. So what I've done over the years is like I said, my first client was my mom's Avon, my Avon lady, and I learned at 16 years old that being in business is the only way. Having a home-based business is the only way that you can permanently lower your income taxes. Now, how do you get all this information? Do you hire me? You probably don't want to. You maybe want to hire me. I can only take on so many people. And the reason why Red gets such great service is because I only take on so many people. I want to provide superior service. I want to provide timely service and accurate service. So what I've done over the years is that since 1996, I believe it was, I created what was called the Income Tax Reduction Guide, and I've customized it, as you can see there, for Mary Kay people, for Young Living people. Then down below, I have some other ones that are generic for MLM businesses, for home-based businesses. And I put together this package to go over every single deduction that's available to you as a home-based business owner. And this is awesome in that in these packages, I go over how you can do your own taxes. There's videos in there, line by line, how to do a Schedule C, how to do a depreciation form, how to do all all the tax forms necessary for a home-based business on videos. Now, if you want to hire me, that's fine. I take a certain amount of people every year, and you can get in touch with me through the information that's on the screen. But here are my, here are my products. And as you can see, the home-based, the tax reduction packages are $997. Now, let me give you an example. When you buy when you buy those packages, I go back and I look at 3 years of your past tax returns. Now, I've been with Red for a long, long time. I'm not sure if we remember Red's particular situation, but I can tell you a situation that I had just 2 weeks ago. I looked at this lady's tax return, and I don't know her accountants from anybody. I don't know these accountants, who they are, and I don't have anything against them. They just didn't specialize in what I specialize in, is home-based business. That's all I do. I don't take on people that don't have a home-based business because they don't need my expertise. They can go to H&R Block. They can go to Jackson Hewitt. But we got her $4,781 back from 2021 taxes. That's on top of the refund that she already got. And I'll tell you, one of those deductions they missed was the home office deduction. Now, I couldn't do anything about paying her children because that's in the past. But I do recommend to her that she start paying her children in her business, and she's going to get even a bigger refund. That's one refund, $4,781 in her pocket for 1 year that I just reviewed her taxes. So, and what's interesting, I can see the chat. At what point do you recommend hiring someone like you? Right away. I recommend, if you can't hire me, get the course, because business is a habit. If you're in business, you have daily habits that you do to succeed in business. If you want to succeed, why put yourself through all the pain and agony and discipline of 10, 15-hour days to make all the money you can in your business, only to hand over 50% of it at the end of the year to the IRS? That doesn't make any sense. But if you get the package and get the knowledge and have the daily disciplines that you need for your taxes, at the end of the year, not only are you going to have made a lot of money in your business because you've done your daily business habits, but you've also done your daily tax habits, and you're going to be able to keep that money. It depends, to answer the person's question. It depends on how much money you want to keep. In my DIY course, you will know everything. You will know everything that I do. And then I will go back and look at your taxes for the last 3 years. In addition to, when you get that course, I'll go back and look at your taxes, find some money, which I've only in my career, I've had about 4 people that I couldn't find money for. I'll find you some money, which will pay for the course. And then I'll give you recommendations going forward So you'll not only have the course, but you'll have my personal advice on your personal return. So
I like that last part because I put in a lot of information. I have a lot of expenses, and you keep everything in order so that it doesn't pop up on a computer that I have too much of this or I've zeroed out everything. You literally hold something in advance. You look at the trend of what's going on. You know what the IRS is checking for. And so, okay, fine. I didn't see whatever expense I had for this year on my return. Okay, I trust Steve. There's a reason for it.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you have the checklist, you have everything there. You can certainly take the deduction and zero out a lot of stuff, but it's not always the wisest thing to do. You have certain things that make sense in a business, and having an accountant that, let's say that I do get bounced for something from IRS and I have some spillage over that's sitting there in a bank,
Yep.
it can always come back and be used to offset something that's there. Now, I've never had that. Well, I've been audited by IRS for years and years and years, but that's been decades ago. I think 7 years in a row out in California. For whatever reason, they could not understand why I went to Hawaii for free. I was in the military. I would go over there 1 or 2 weekends a month for reserves. We'd go over there and do whatever, and I'd have orders written at no cost to the government. Well, of course, you get over there, your hotel, your car, all the rest of that stuff are expenses. But in the reality, I'm saying, you don't understand. I can get orders over there and get paid for it, or I could go over there and do the same thing and then take it off my taxes. And so anyway, I actually drove down to one of the local IRS, district offices. It's quite a drive, a couple hours. And we had a long conversation. We pulled all stuff up, and I finally caught somebody who understood, and never had another audit since then. And that's back in the 70s.
Knock on wood.
Yes, hopefully. But no, I like Steve's approach. He has the human element that's there. We have AI that we're going to get into a little bit later on today. And AI would probably tell you, well, take this, all of this stuff. Well, moderate it just a little bit because maybe you need to save something in your back pocket. So with that being said, is there anything else in the tax world? Anything else on that we want to cover website wise? Or, I mean, we're going to give some time at the end for contact information, but.
Yeah, I would just say this. I mean, what separates me from 99.9% of the people out there doing taxes is I care. I care about your taxes. And even people that have over 1,500 people have my course. That's a very conservative number that I just dug out of my bookkeeping the other day. Over 1,500 people have my course. Yet those 1,500 people, some of those people email me and say, Steve, hey, look, I got a question on this. Can you answer it for me? Yeah, I'm going to answer it for you. I'm not going to say, no, wait a second. I'm not going to put my lawyer hat on or my CPA, my rigid CPA visor, and say, oh, I'm not going to answer this question unless you pay me to do it. I care that you save money, and that only benefits me in the long run because you tell other people and they tell other people, and then here we go. I've never advertised my business ever. I never paid for advertising for my business. Let's put it this way, because I am advertising my business on this channel, but I've never paid for it. I've gotten all my business from word of mouth and all positive. All right. So I care about your taxes, and I care when people invest in my courses and get a return of 500, 600, 700, 800% on that investment. That's good. If they're not getting the return on investment, something's wrong, and we have to look at it and help you do that. That's my promise, is that you'll get your money back in the first year when you invest in that course. Because if you don't, you're doing something wrong, and you need to call up and say, hey, that's why I look back at people's 3 years tax returns, and I basically audit their tax returns, get some money, and give them recommendations going forward so they have the course in their pocket. And Red made a good point. I look at people's taxes, and for example, I do people's tax returns that they have businesses, but they have a lot of children. So they go in that earned income credit bracket, even though they have a profit on their return. Okay. So the earned income credit is a bell curve. It's like this. I think I've done it right on the screen. You have a very low income here and very high income here, but there's a sweet spot to that earned income credit. Now, the IRS says report 100% of your income. So I put 100% of someone's income on there, and I take enough expenses off there to hit that sweet spot. If they would have taken their tax return to someone else, they would have put all their expenses on their return, put their income down to almost nothing, and they wouldn't have got earned income credit. I just leave it up there at that sweet spot, you see, because I want to put money in your pocket. People need money in their pocket now. They don't need more money taken out from the government. The government has enough money. And if they don't have enough money, they print it. That's it.
I know that you, as a business owner of your own accounting thing there, you also get involved in other things.
Oh, yeah.
And lately, we've been looking at ChatGPT. I got Dr. JACALYN introduced to it. We've had one or two other speakers on in recent weeks talking a little bit about how AI is either helping them develop and go forward in a particular direction, or specifically what it can do to help in the industry you're in. 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, just before Thanksgiving, I had a military luncheon, and the guy is a CEO of his company, and he's been using it for many, many things. And just because you have it doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% every single time. He brought up the fact that they get involved periodically with legal issues, and they were in court, and all of a sudden the judge asked a question about one of the things. Well, it turned out that the opposition lawyers had used ChatGPT to generate some reference material for them to, well, it turned out that that wasn't valuable reference material. AI is good. It does a very, very good job, but it has to be monitored and it has to be assessed as to the validity and everything else there. Why don't we wander off into that area, and
Sure.
How did you get involved, or how has your business and personal life been involved here in the AI world?
Well, I'll tell you, the AI is pretty cool. And like you said, it needs to be monitored. I'll give you a few examples what I used and my wife and I used in the AI world. My wife has motor neuron disease, what you call ALS in the United States. She was a health professional, award-winning group fitness instructor for 25 years, and she wanted to write a course on resilience and the power of choice, because she's been living now for 7 years with that disease. They told her she was going to die 2 to 5 years. She's been living now 7 years. She went to AI and typed in some things, some prompts, and she actually has an outline for a course on resilience. And like Red said, you have to monitor it. So she put in there, she wrote a whole course on ChatGPT. Now she has to go in, and that's the nice framework that you can use. Now you can type in ChatGPT. You can type in tax laws that you want to find out. Can I write off this? Can I write off that? You have to be careful, because ChatGPT only goes back to 2021, I believe. I have the paid version. It's worth getting the paid version, I think. $20 a month. I mean, I spend $20 a day in coffee, but you have to be careful because of its limitations and also the context that you want to type in. It's good to get general information, and then you can bounce that against the IRS website. And, that's where you can start with ChatGPT. Now, another thing that people do, if you're on this channel today, or you're watching this TV and you don't have a home-based business, or you don't have a business of your own, a lot of people right now are going to and writing courses. and selling courses. It's a big, I mean, Anthony Robbins is into it. And this little guy that I don't know what his name is, this big Anthony Robbins is up here and this little dude is down here. They talk about, take your experience and write a course or write a book or something like that. And that's true. You can go to ChatGPT, you can type in and you can write a whole course on something and publish it. But once again, that's going to give you the nice framework, because a lot of people don't know, they don't know how to start a course. They don't know how to get the structure for one. It'll give you the course structure. And then guess what? You got yourself a nice course. You can publish it on literally hundreds of platforms, get yourself that home-based business, and then unlock the key to deducting everything that you can not deduct now as an employee. You're talking about 2 tax systems in America. If you're not in the tax system that includes a home-based business, you're paying way too much in taxes. In fact, on my blog, the taxsavingsblog.com, I have, what do you do if you're single and have no business? What are some tax advantages there? There's not many, and let me tell you what, and they're not really that great. So getting a home-based business is the way to go if you want to write off things that you already do anyway.
We both had the same mentor many years ago, and I remember him saying, if you want to be rich, find out what the rich people do and do that. He says, you want to be poor, find out what the poor people do and do that. I've done the same thing and changed it over. You want to be healthy? Well, what do the healthy people do? What do the unhealthy people do? And as you say, it's a habit. Over time, whatever you're doing, you're going to continue doing, or maybe even do a little bit incrementally less, because it's too hard to keep doing whatever you were doing. And so from a perspective of, okay, inflation, whatever you're looking at, retirement, college expenses, even medical bills, there are some places there where, an extra little bit per year makes a difference. And it's not that it's a big difference, but it makes a difference. I think when I was doing my self-improvement programs many years ago, I was talking about the fact that, just as much as $300 a month can put you in a totally different world. And that was back about 2015 or earlier. I think it's before that, because my wife had not had come down with cancer yet. And that was around 11 or 12 when she came out. But, just that little bit of money makes a difference in being able to be less stressed. And as you say, the tax system in the United States, now it's not all the way around the world, but certainly in the United States, it's a way of making that difference. So, well,
yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, I forgot what I was going to say. That's all right, because I was looking at the question in the chat box, and then I got my brain into that, and then I forgot what I was going to say on yours, but it'll come to me sooner or later. Should I answer that question in the chat box?
Yeah. What tips can you share to help out audiences sell their courses? Marketing is not as easy as creating the courses.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And I'm a published author. I wrote a book called Money Does Grow on Trees. And do you know that the average book out there only sells 100 copies in its whole career? I sold over 4,000 copies. Now, I won't get into that particular thing, but I'm sitting in the house of a gentleman who's written 2 books, and he didn't sell over 100 copies. All right, they're good books. I read them. They're good books, but he just didn't know how to market them. Like the listener or watcher said, marketing. And I'm going to go back to Red and I's mentor that we had. And he said, marketing is the ability to create in others. Watch this now. This is the ability to create in others a desire for more and more and more of what you have, so that they will exchange their money for the value that you bring. And I'll give it to him. Should I say his name? Give him credit?
Yeah, give him credit.
It was Myron Golden. He wrote the foreword to my book there, Money Does Grow in Trees. I do not recommend selling anything on Amazon, even though mine's on Amazon. I never saw a royalty from Amazon, but that's okay. I could teach anybody how to sell books. Selling a course, this is what I would do. First of all, you could go to ChatGPT and make ChatGPT tell ChatGPT that you are my marketing assistant. Please give me the top 10 ways to market my book called your book in this niche. Boom. Okay. And see what it comes up with. That's a good place to start. The second place to start is get a blog. You can get a free blog, WordPress blog, and you can start blogging about chapters in your book. All right. And then get that blog out to your social media, et cetera, et cetera. What you're doing is you're feeding crumbs. It's like birds. In Australia, they have the coolest birds. And all we do is put little crumbs out for these birds now. Now, we did that 7 years when we moved to Brisbane. Those birds still come back today. When we walk out on our deck, they see us and they come back. They remember. See, we've trained those birds. There's crumbs out there. They like the crumbs. We're making them. We're creating that hunger. All right, and they come back to get those crumbs. What you want to do is get out there, get on this radio show, talk about your book, get on other shows, talk about your book. All right, your course, whatever you have. I wouldn't recommend going on Udemy, because Udemy, the price points on those courses are so low, it's terrible. I've never put my course on there. In your course, what you ought to do is make it valuable enough to get a price point of at least $495 and start an affiliate program, because there's people out there that'll talk about your course. You get them to have your course, buy the course, then become an affiliate. And then you have an army of people out there selling your course. That's how I started my tax business. I provided great value to people who are my tax clients. I offered them an incentive to send more people. My incentive way back when was 10% off your bill. I had at least 6 people that gave me 10 people every year because they didn't want to pay for their taxes that year. 10 people from one person, 10 people from 6, that's 60. You see? Start getting your course out there on social media. Give people an incentive to talk about your course. People like me who have influence, who have big networks. I've given my book away for free way back in the day when I first started my income tax reduction package. I gave it away to free to people of influence, and they talked about it. And guess what? I got sales. So maybe I should start a course on how to market your course, because, hey, I've helped in the past 8 months. I've had 3 people that I've mentored that have courses. I have one person who plays the Native American flute, and since coming with me, he's created a flute course. I've taught him how to create the course. Now I'm teaching him how to market the course. He sold $2,000 so far in courses. And now I have other people that are coming to me as well. I have a young person who wants to, and he's only 20 years old, and he wants to know how to make a course and market it. So I do some mentoring, and, hey, reach out to me.
Is there a particular program or process that you would recommend for people who want to create courses or have valuable content that could be put into a course?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna put the ball back in their lap. And this is one thing that my mentor did to me. I have several mentors. One of my mentors, he was I would come to him and I say, I want to do this, this, and this, and that. He's get in touch with me. Reach out to me, put it in an email. And then the ball came back to me and said, oh my gosh, I got to do something. So I wrote an email exactly what I want. And he answered me. See, he did that for me. I do that for other people. If you haven't, I'm telling you, true, and Red can back me up, that I don't break my promises. If you reach out to me through my email, say, Steve, I have an idea on courses. I want to do this, this, and this, and this. All right. Help me. Can you help me? Yes, I can. This is what I'll do. I'll respond to you and I will help you. My wife has done a course. She's just done a course on fitness, and she's has that up and running, and we're marketing it. And she's also written her second book. I got her to write her first book. Now she's written her second book. Now we're going to market, you see. And there's a lot of different ways to go to market. So the ball's in your court. All my information's up there. Have at it, because and if you want to test my affiliate program, you can go through the taxsavingsblog.com. The first post on there is my affiliate program. See how that works. And I can get you set up on one of those as well.
You know, Steve, one of the things that I did learn from Myron, and he asks this question just about every time we get started up a long time ago. What does it take to be a successful fisherman? And we talk about marketing. You're trying to get your value to the other person where they want it. No, as you said, they need to be hungry for what you have. Well, it's not a fishing pole. It's not bait. It's not a boat. It's not whatever. In order to be successful as a fisherman, you need to have hungry fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have hungry fish, they're going to bite. You can put that bait out there all day long. If they're not hungry, they're just going to ignore it. But they know where the bait's at, because you said that with your birds. They know where to go. If they see what they see, they're back automatically. So just because you don't have success now, you still keep peppering everything. You put out the little drips here, there, and yonder. And at some point in time, you will catch that audience that has a need for what you have, that hungry audience. And that's where you start seeing great increases in everything. So who's a good client for you in your businesses, and how's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, a good client for me is someone who wants to succeed in business. They're not doing it as a hobby. They're not just messing around with it. Usually people who are in businesses like Mary Kay, Tastefully Simple, Young Living, any MLM business out there, and home-based businesses, usually people like one or two business owners, anybody that has a small LLC, and someone who's, wants to save money on their taxes and is willing to do what there is a discipline to it. You can't get to the end of the year and say, I forgot to do this, because then I can't help you. The real tax deadline is December 31st, not April 15th. Because after December 31st, there's only a few ways I can help you, and they're not that good. So people in a home-based business, course creators, people like that want to turn their course into a business, and which is big business. I mean, if you're talking about, if you have $1,000 course, you sell 1,500 courses, you got $1.5 million. So there you are. Too easy. And the IRS will want some of that money, but we just need to keep it in your pocket. So anybody that has a home-based business or wants to have a home-based business.
Okay, so both from a tax perspective and from an entrepreneurial perspective, you can help people.
Oh, absolutely. And don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, my email is open. I'm not going to look at it and say, oh, well, this, reach out with any question that you have. Red knows me. I'm chilled. I mean, this is not, look at me, I'm not in a suit and tie. I haven't put a suit and tie on. Oh my gosh. I can't remember the last time I had a tie on. And that's the way I always was. I was in a very relaxed office in America. Everybody liked coming there because it wasn't stuffy, and I had an open door. People could ask me questions. I did wear a suit and tie when I did my seminars, but that was only because, that's what you do. That's pretty cool. So someone said I have a tie on now. You're joking. But I'm a real person. I'm not the guy that had a 6-week tax course. I'm not a guy that thinks that he's high and mighty because he has 3 little letters behind his name. I'm just a normal guy getting normal people money. Red alluded to the fact of $500 a month. You know what? People are 300. If they had $300 extra a month, that the average person would avoid bankruptcy with just $300 a month. You go and be an affiliate of mine, you can make 1 sale a month and make $500. There you go. There's that's your cushion from going bankrupt. But just reach out to me, and that's it. Do I charge a flat rate for one-on-one service? Yes, I do. I don't believe in all this rigmarole or charging by the form or whatever. Reach out to me. Ask me what service you want. It's a flat rate. I don't mess around.
Okay, so Steve Spangenberg, that's SPE, for our audio audiences on radio where they can't see anything that we're looking at. Spangenberg, spelled Spangenberg, and he's at steve@do-my-taxes.com. Phone number 717-889-8418. And with that, I'll leave you for the last sentence, and then we'll conclude today's program.
Well, the last sentence is this. There are millions of ways to make money. And the key is, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So learn to keep, let's just say, a whole lot of your money. So learn to keep a whole lot of your money, because you can do better with it than the government can. So reach out and let's have a chat.
Steve, thanks so very much for your time, especially being in Australia, almost 6 o'clock in the morning over there now. And I will be, we're 18 minutes. I'll be back on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And we'll be hopefully today concluding, I think we've been on 7 weeks, on 2023, 2024, what's going on in the wellness industry as far as hot topics and trends. We've talked about lots of them, a couple dozen or more. And let's get into the last several of them. There's not many left, so that you have a chance to figure out, does this make sense for what's going on in your world right now? Remember, your health is your status as you're taking a picture of it. That's where you are right now. But the wellness aspect of your life are the things that you do in order to maintain that health. So with that being said, please join me here in 15 minutes or so on the USA Global TV and Radio Network for a show called Talking Heads, and I'll be back to catch you then. With that, Red O'Laughlin signing off, and I will catch you next week, this time on The Wise Ones. Bye now.